Kim, could you tell me a bit about what you were experiencing before we first met?
Quite a lot of dizziness attacks, a lot of sickness, and literally it would come in sort of waves of sort of like 2 to 3 days. So I'd have a really bad day. I'd be in bed most of the day, wouldn't be able to do anything. The next day, I might feel better. The dizziness and the sickness would have gone, but I'd be absolutely shattered. I would have no energy to do anything. Third day, I'd be fine, be able to do everything normally, and then it would come again. And that had gone on for about 3 months at that particular point. I'd probably had a break of a few days here and there in between, but at that point it had gone on for about 3 months, and I just felt it was the longest I'd had the attacks for, on that sort of continuous basis, and obviously just felt really ill. You don't see an end in sight. You don't know when it's going to stop, and you just feel that that's how it's going to be. You're just going to keep feeling awful for, you don't know how long for, really.
Yeah. And so if you describe how the severity of the symptoms, moderate being that it interferes with your day, but you can continue, severe being that it stops your day, how would you describe the severity of those symptoms?
On the sort of day when I was having the sickness and just constantly sleeping, extremely severe. I couldn't do anything. I would struggle to get up to go to the bathroom. I would need help to walk to the bathroom, because I felt like I needed to keep my eyes closed all the time. To open my eyes was really hard, because obviously my vision was very disturbed, and obviously that just makes you feel more dizzy when you're trying to focus and you can't. And also, as soon as every time I moved, I would be sick. So I knew that I would, in order to get to that point, to be able to get out of bed to get to the bathroom, I would have to have help to do that, because I'd have to walk with my eyes closed, and then sort of, or sort of like my husband holding one hand, my other hand figging the wall, because I felt I needed to feel something solid, because obviously when somebody's walking with you, they're moving as well. So even that can be a little bit disturbing, if you know what I mean. That can sort of inhibit your balance at the same time. So he would be holding one hand, and I'd sort of follow the wall with my other hand to give myself a little bit of stability. So yeah, very severe.
Mm. And had you tried any treatment previously?
Yeah, I'd looked at lots of sort of different things. I tried to get information, obviously, off the internet, everything. I've been to, I was first diagnosed 8 years ago, I've been to the doctors, obviously been to a consultant, and you just, whenever I went to the doctor, which I had done on this particular occasion, I was just given the same medication. And I said, it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything for me. But it was, well, let's start here and then go from there. So every time you have a bad attack, you go back to the beginning again. So I found that really frustrating. I looked at certain things, but I found everything that I looked at was very negative, as in, this is it, this is your life, you can't work, you can't drive, you can't do this, you can't do that. I found that very hard, and I didn't want to be reading that. I really wanted something positive, and I believe I said to you at some point, I learned more from your 7 day free session than I had from any doctor or any consultant over the last 8 years. In those 7 days, I learned so much about obviously the different types of vestibular problems, and also what I was diagnosed with, which was the Meniere's. That was just eye opening for me, and just made me feel so much better. And just made me feel like I was able to get back some control. So yeah, it was really, really brilliant. It was a real game changer for me, and just made me feel so positive, so much more positive about where I could get to.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And how did you find the full 12-week course?
Oh, brilliant! So easy to follow. Your instructions are so clear, so simple but effective. But yeah, easy. It's really easy to do. I didn't really. There was odd one that I struggled with. When you're closing your eyes and things like that, because you're nervous about doing that as well. But as you talk through, it sort of helps you build your confidence with it. And again, you've got the little video instructions on there as well. So if I was doing a particular exercise, I can't quite remember that, I could go back and look at that. Oh yeah, that's a reminder of how to do it. So I just found it really clear, really simple to follow. And say, as you're doing certain things, you get a little bit nervous about, is this going to cause an attack? How am I going to feel after doing this? But I had no adverse reactions to anything, any of the exercises at all. So yeah, so again, it just really built my confidence and just made me feel so much more in control about managing these, these symptoms and this illness.
Yeah, great. I think that's why those weekly video calls are so important, because it
Yeah,
means we can tailor it. So the exercises, we're walking that knife edge of trying to make sure the exercise is hard enough that it helps you get better, but not so hard that it sets you back.
yes, yeah,
And that's really the goal of those video calls. And how are you doing now?
fine, absolutely fine. I've had nothing, no attacks since the last one was early February. So I've had nothing then. I would often get days where I would say, the only words I can use is I feel discombobulated. You just don't feel like your feet are firmly on the ground. It wouldn't be a full blown attack or a full dizziness, just not quite right. But I haven't had that in probably at least 2.5 months. I think I had it in the early days, a couple of days where I didn't feel great, but I've not had that, yeah, for at least 10 weeks, I would say. So yeah, really, really good. Recently been away, and again, you was a little bit nervous about going away, doing something different, traveling. But I've had absolutely, absolutely nothing at all. So yeah, great time away. You're doing different things. Obviously, having a little bit more alcohol, but I was able to fully enjoy my holiday, and I had absolutely no problems at all. So yeah, really good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Oh, I'm so glad to hear, and you did so well with the course. Have you been continue doing some of the exercises since, or have you backed off from them now?
No, I haven't done anything since I was away last week, so I haven't done anything since yet since I've been back. But my plan is to start again over the weekend and start getting the ones that you give at the end of the course, to get those back into my daily routine as well, because I haven't started my general exercise routine since I've been back, and I will do it as part of that. But that's my plan, is to get back to it now over the
Yeah,
weekend. So yeah, I will do.
perfect. No, that's fantastic. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time.